guys? It is Cody from Adventure Cody. If you watched my last video, I went into why and how I built an IBC tote that has water catchment in it so I can gather water for my pumpkins that I'm growing that are gonna need a lot of water. So one issue that I ran into almost immediately, right? I was super jazzed up, super happy with this tote. And then almost immediately I ran into the issue of water pressure. But when I open up this, look at how, that's not a lot of water pressure. I would say that's like maybe like a half a pound of water pressure, if that. I bought a drip irrigation system. If you don't know what a drip irrigation system is, just go ahead and look it up. They're really good for watering your plants and conserving the water. But you do need about, I think when I was looking online, you need about 8 to 10 PSI to be able to effectively power a drip irrigation system, right? I'm not getting 8 to 10 PSI in that. So then I started thinking, well, what if I hooked up an RV pump? What if I hooked it up to a battery, solar, all that? And so now I'm like deep into this thing. But today, that's essentially what we're doing. I bought an RV pump online that hooks up to a battery. The battery hooks up to solar. I'm gonna somehow attach the solar to the top of this and maybe get like a little case or something to put the battery and the pump into. And then we're gonna hook that up to my drip irrigation system. And hopefully this thing works like a charm. You know, no promises here, but that's kind of been how this whole thing works, is just kind of flying by the edge of my seat here. So I went ahead and bought the battery itself, the pump itself, and the solar panel itself. And today I'm gonna try to mount all that onto here and get this moved over there closer to the pumpkin patch and just see if this thing can work or not. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so let's go over materials first. So first thing that I bought to get the water pressure up is obviously a 12-volt water pump. I got this on Amazon. RV pump itself was $34. It's a water pressure pump. It goes up to 1.2 gallons per minute, and I think it gets up to like 40 PSI. That's fine. We're not doing any kind of like household items in here. We're just trying to power a hose to get it enough water to go out to the pumpkin. So we obviously need something to power this 12-volt pump. Enter the 12-volt battery. Batteries can be expensive. This is a 7 amp hour lithium battery. Now, I don't need a lot of amp hours just to power a singular 12-volt pump. You can obviously go with a car battery, a 200 amp hour, 500 amp hour, but then you're looking into a couple $100 just for a battery. The battery is 7 amp hour, 12-volt battery. It was only $25, so that's pretty good. I had a strict budget for this build in terms of like the electrical aspects of it. I didn't want to spend more than like $100 on all the aspects just to power water to get to my pumpkins. So, and then I don't know if you can see, I have like a little 12-volt on-off button that I can use to power my pump. There you go. Shot a bunch of water onto me. It's also not good to do it dry. If you want to know the electrical diagram for this, it's really, really easy. Essentially, all I did was match red up to ground, and then wire this in here. I could probably go into the electrical components of this, like how to wire it all in a different video. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there. In fact, I actually just asked ChatGPT how to wire all this up, and it helped me out. So we have our electrical components right here on how to power the water. Then I got me a solar panel. Why do I need a solar panel? Well, I need something to charge my battery. So I got a 50-watt solar panel that comes with an MPPT charge controller. More on this in a second. A 50-watt solar panel that I'm gonna mount to the top of the tote, and it comes down with a red and a black, and we're essentially going to attach these to the battery to charge it over time. I got one with an MPPT charge controller, so essentially what this does, this makes sure that any fluctuations in current or sunlight that we get from the solar panel is not gonna overcharge the battery and explode it or anything like that. So essentially this makes sure that all the voltage that we get, you know what, listen, I'm not super electrical, so somebody a lot smarter than me can probably kill me in the comments here, but this essentially makes sure that we are not gonna overcharge the battery and that nothing explodes, essentially. All right, and then last but not least, I don't want the battery and the pump to just be out in the water because that's just not good. I just don't think water and electrical components are good. So I needed something to house it in. I got this at Harbor Freight. It was $8.99 and they had a sale for anything $10 and below, 30% off. So I got this for like $6. It's just a plastic ammo box. I believe it's gonna be big enough to house the battery and the pump within it. So I'm gonna try to find an area on top of the tote where I can mount this and like maybe put like a hole or two where one side the water line goes in where it sucks the water, the other side the water line goes out. And then in here is the battery, and then somehow maybe drill something to where like these could go into it and then like attach to the battery to charge it. Again, all this is a working concoction in my mind that maybe we can put to the test. So let's see what happens. All right, so here is the front of the tote where the water is gonna come out. What I'm thinking in terms of like mounting this, I'm thinking about somehow mounting it right here, possibly right here, to where the batteries and whatnot are right here, and then maybe put the little switch right there somehow to where I can just walk up, hit a switch, water goes out, and we start watering the pumpkin. I do have 2 of these old steel L brackets that I used for the fencing on the pumpkin patch that they ended up getting bent because the ground here is just atrocious. So I'm thinking of maybe cutting this right here and welding it and kind of creating like a little bit of a bracket for this thing to sit on. So maybe something like that, or maybe something right here. Obviously I want it closer, but I don't know if I'll be able to. So maybe like making a little bracket. Also, these things already have little holes in them, so that's gonna help me out a lot. So just kind of like screwing it to the bottom right here. The only problem with welding onto this is that this is plastic and welding is like molten metal. So you kind of gotta like touch and go with this and make sure that you don't put a freaking hole in the top of your tote. I gotta be really careful with this, but I think I'm gonna do that. Let's go ahead and break out the welder, yeah. Well, pro tip for your welding, usually these electrical welders that hook up to just like a standard outlet, they don't come with a lot of like extension area to be able to like, if you're a distance away from the outlet. So obviously these things melt metal, so you need a lot of voltage or watts or maybe amps, I don't know. So get you a good old thick electrical extension cord. This is I think like 10 feet long, and this is about as thick as a hot dog because the last thing you want is to blow a fuse, create an electrical fire, anything like that. So I got this on Amazon as well. Anytime I start welding from a distance, I hook up one of these big boys just to make sure I don't blow anything up. So whenever you weld, you want to make sure you have a nice clean surface. So I just basically grinded off all the paint right there. That way when I do kind of weld it to here, nice clean surface, just 2 little tack welds. You don't want paint to get involved in all the moltenness of this. So see how it frickin' goes, dude. So I'm actually gonna attach the box to the bracket first and then weld the bracket in place. So I have it lined up. I have some self-tapping screws. This is definitely overkill, but this is actually the only screws I have in the moment, so. I'm gonna go ahead and be the first to say this is not the safest or the most efficient way to do this, okay? If you can't really see what I'm doing right now, I'm about to weld, which basically means create controlled fire over a towel. I don't really recommend this. It's just I don't really have any other flame retardant materials that I could put over this. I've used this before. It catches fire from time to time, but if it does start absolutely burning, I have my water right here. This whole thing is just covered in water. So I think I'll be good. I hope. There's really only one way to find out. You can just kind of super send sometimes. So Let's get to welding this thing. I don't know. This is always the scary part, man. This is always the sketchy part. I love welding, don't get me wrong. It always scares me a little bit. As it should, you know, have a healthy fear for molten metal, but it just, you know, a lot of things could go wrong, and you just want to make sure that you take the proper precautions. Where's my water? Okay, here it is. Got my water in case anything goes crazy. Got my welding jacket in case anything wants to spit back at me. Got my welding torch. Let's go ahead and dry that off real quick. I'm like shaking right now. I'm not a welder, if you couldn't tell. Like, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I just know enough to make fire go boom, you know? Let's frickin' do this thing. Oh! All right, here we go. All right, we went ahead and successfully welded this little bracket in here to the wire. Again, not beautiful welds. They're really just tack welds to keep it in place. One thing I really didn't think about is this thing opens up to right here. It's enough to fit a battery and whatnot in there, but that's gonna be a little difficult to work with, but we'll figure it out. Here's what I'm thinking for the layout. I put the RV pump right here and the battery back here. Water will go in this way and then water will come out that way. So I think I'm gonna have to put the switch like somewhere right here. Just mount a little hole, put a switch in there. So let's get to doing that. Let's get to screwing some stuff in, yeah? Hell yeah, let's freaking go, dude. Got the water pump mounted. Let's just go ahead and state the obvious here. It's a little off center, okay? But listen, it's not hurting anything. I got it mounted in here. Now we're gonna go ahead and place the battery in and get the water lines drilled in. So I got my on off switch right here. I'm thinking about putting it like right here. That way I could just kind of like switch it on and off. So let's just go right into the side of this thing. Hell freaking yeah. You see that? Let's go, dude. So the inside, the part that sucks water in, is gonna go in here. And then the outside, the water that comes out to water the garden, is gonna go right here. Let's go! All right, so I went to Lowe's and I bought this. It's a brass hose adapter to 1/2-inch pipe adapter. And basically what I'm gonna do is just screw it into there and then line that up to the RV pump up top. All right, guys, so we're running into a problem right now. Our problem is essentially the hose is actually not long enough. We're short by about, I don't know, a foot to get into there. And we got two options right now. I could go to Lowe's, make another trip to Lowe's, which is where I live at this point, and get a longer hose, or I think if I play my cards right, I undo the tack welds I just did, move this up here, which is kind of where I wanted it originally, because I don't want to be able to have to like reach under here. I kind of want to just be able to reach in, flip my switch. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grind off these welds, basically just move this in this area, and then hopefully that'll be long enough for the hose to be able to reach the little inlet down there. So who knows, man? Let's get into this. So I went ahead and moved this up just a tad. As you probably remember, it was over there. Essentially what I did was move this up. I had like a little 1x1 piece of square metal that I welded in place. Try to get it as level as I could. And now, as you can see, we have a bunch of room, and this pump is working perfectly. So if I switch the on switch, look at that. Look at that, baby. Love to see it. Okay, oh. All right. We're in business. Now all I have to do is figure out a way to mount the solar panel, hook it to the batteries, And we're good to go. So let's go ahead and figure that out now. All right, sure enough, one of my many projects, I always, like, if I order something on Amazon or, you know, like an IKEA thing and they give you a bunch of nuts and bolts, don't ever throw them away. I was able to come across this nut and bolt, and it perfectly fits right into this little hole. So all right, cool beans. It's not charging. Now it's charging. Okay. All right. Moment of truth. See if this whole thing works. Flip the switch to on. Hopefully water comes out of here. Yeah! Oh, okay. Let's not put it all over my tool. But it works. And it's charging. Kind of surprised that I did this. And this is very mobile, so I can move it. So that's pretty freaking cool. Now, I just gotta move it all the way over there. Alrighty guys, let's go over this whole entire thing again, shall we? We get rained on. Water enters the chat, okay? Water comes down, filters off, or drains off into the gutter system, drops down all the way into the gutter system here. Once it's done raining, we are then going to turn on the 12-volt pump, and hopefully water should come out. And we're gonna hook up the sprinkler system here in a second. That's essentially what we got going on here. So if you guys enjoy this kind of stuff, let me know in the comments. I know Benny does. What is that? What is it? All right guys, I'm done with the water tote collection system for now, I should say. I don't know why or how I decided to do it. I mean, I wanted to be able to water my pumpkins, but I could have just done that with the hose. But I was like, you know what? What if I just like really ADHD this? So that's what I did. We're done for now. I got to hook up the drip irrigation system to this, so that'll probably be the next video. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If there's any areas of improvement or things that you think that I could do differently, I'd love to know about it. But hope you all have a great rest of your day. And yeah, give me your feedback and let me know what you think. Okay, bye guys.